King Kong vs Gorilla. King Kong vs Godzilla.
Oh, that makes more sense.
The Nighty King Kong. The Nighty Godzilla. Why is in that? That's the tagline. Oh, right, okay. Well, let's get into it. King Kong vs Godzilla is from 1963, it lasts about an hour and 23 minutes, and it's a Japanese movie from the original King Kong series. And I heard it's actually the most successful Godzilla movie in Japan ever. Really? Yeah.
How?
Okay, that's pretty cool. That's pretty sad if you'd seen it. No. So, is this a bad movie? Yeah, the movie lasts about an hour and 25 minutes, but I would be interested in seeing what the original running time was. What do you mean? Well, all the stuff with the American newscaster, all those related sequences were added for American and Western audiences, basically. So the original movie, released in Japan, had none of that. Right, the movie must have been about 20 minutes. Yeah, well, that's what I'm wondering. Anyway, King Kong vs Godzilla. The movie opens with an American news broadcaster telling us that there have been seismic quakes originating in the Pacific Ocean. In that particular region of the ocean, they've also found these gigantic berries, which should be tiny, but are the size of tomatoes.
Thrilled.
And then we cut to a Japanese news broadcast, and they're telling us, oh, also there's probably a big monster there. Yeah. An American submarine goes to investigate. Now, they come across an iceberg. No. They drive straight into an iceberg. Oh, well, yeah. Now, they realise they're stuck. They have to abandon ship, basically. How do you abandon ship on a submarine? Well, there is a way. But the whole submarine catches fire, and the captain, all the way through it, the captain is just like, it's cool. He's the most chilled man I've ever seen. He is pretty chilled. A rescue helicopter comes along to try and save the crew of the submarine, but they see from above the iceberg is cracking open. Yeah, and Godzilla steps out. Yeah, and the pilot knows Godzilla's name, and he's like, oh, it's Godzilla. Let's go! And they run off. Yeah, they flee the scene. Cut back to the American news broadcaster. He also knows the name of Godzilla for some reason, and he says, well, Godzilla has come out of an iceberg. Here he comes. The Japanese newscaster tells us he's heading straight for mainland Japan. They don't seem that worried. They don't actually in that scene. Anyway, the Japanese army are scrambled and they are sent to the beachfront, and they start to blast at Godzilla and tanks from the shoreline. And yeah, they just sent toys. Yeah, alright, okay. Well, this movie relies a lot on model work. Alice having flashbacks of Mad Monster Party. That rubbish? Yeah, that wasn't rubbish. It was. I really like the model work in this movie. There are trains, there are helicopters, there are cars and tanks and people. Yeah, well, let's not talk about the model people. They are immovable little plastic things. It's rubbish. It's not rubbish. It's just of the time and of the budget. Trash. Anyway, Godzilla gets blasted 1,000 times, but he's just unfazed, steps onto land, crushes all the tanks, and makes his way inland. Yeah, and they say he's heading for Tokyo.
I hear it's beautiful.
So, this newspaper owner says, hey, I know, I'll get an island monster, and I'll get him to fight Godzilla. Yeah, I don't know why that's his first line of thought, but that's what he does. He sends a team, he sends 2 guys to Skull Island. The Navy drop these 2 guys off on Skull Island, and then they're like, good luck guys, see you never. Just leave them to it, these 2 guys. So the guys head on into Skull Island, and they're instantly captured by the natives. Yeah, the natives. Japanese people in blackface. Yeah, I mean, I know it was like the 1960s, but it's still not cool. No, but anyway, They are endangered, but they win over the natives. They give them a radio, yeah, and more so, they give them cigarettes. Easing the children, yeah. They tell them they're here to see this giant ape they've heard about. And that night, a giant octopus invades the island. It's trying to get to the giant berries. Yeah, it's just hungry, poor thing. Anyway, they try to fight it with green screen. Yeah, well, back in the day it was blue screen, but yep. And some of it is quite obviously blue screen. But it looks good. It doesn't. It does. Anyway, all this commotion disturbs King Kong. He comes down from wherever he's been hiding, and he fights the octopus. Well, he just throws rocks at it. Yeah, and sticks, yeah. And eventually it just leaves. Yeah, it does. And then he sees big vats of the berry juice sitting. So he picks them up and drinks them like a carton. Yeah. Drinks the berry juice, makes him feel woozy, and then the natives all play jungle drums and chant a little song, and it sends King Kong off to sleep. Just like that. So the two guys are like, right, let's take him. We're leaving the island with Kong. So that's what they do. Yeah. Because the next thing you know, King Kong is on a giant raft surrounded by dynamite, and is being trailed along behind a navy ship. Did the natives not have anything to say? Had I say, where are you taking our giant god? No? Just like, alright, you've given us a few cigarettes. On you go. Fair trade.
That's a sweet deal.
Before too long, King Kong wakes up on the raft. He's raging, yeah. I mean, you would be, yeah. So instantly they think, well, let's blow him up. What's the point then? They blow up the dynamite on the raft. King Kong just falls into the water. Is he dead? No. He just stands up, wet and angry. Then it fades to black. Yeah, it does fade to black. Next thing you know, we hear that Godzilla and King Kong are both heading towards Tokyo. Yeah, and they meet. They do meet. They fight. They do fight. Sort of like 10 seconds, and then they just go their separate ways. Yeah, it's a bit strange. But that's what happens, they do go their separate ways. I think King Kong's a bit scared of Godzilla. I'm not surprised. King Kong throws rocks, Godzilla can breathe fire. Yeah, that's true. But he heads towards the city, and then comes across some power lines. Yeah, and he doesn't like that. He does not. He breaks one, gets an electric shock, and decides, nope, I don't like this. This is not for me. Yeah, so he heads off. That's him. He's not going to Tokyo anymore. Heads off to the hills. Yeah, he does.
Screw you guys, I'm going home.
Meanwhile, King Kong's on another path to the city. He gets to the city, he finds the power lines. He loves them. He just eats them. Yeah. Like spaghetti. Not quite. But he bites into the electric cables and he seems to love it. Then he sees a train going down underneath him. So he picks up one carriage from the train and takes out one little lady. Just drops the carriage, so I guess all those people are dead. Well, we never find out. But he takes this little lady who's now plastic. Well, they have to use models, but yeah. Is it clearly plastic? Yeah, well. He takes her, climbs up this pretty small building, to be fair, and sits there just looking at her, chilling out. Yeah, and the army, advised by those two guys who first saw Kong, fire some sort of drug into the sky. Yeah, they fire this white powder into the sky.
Cocaine.
It makes King Kong a little bit woozy, and then the two guys who had been on the island start to play jungle drums. King Kong falls asleep and falls softly to the ground. I thought he was going to drop that lady to her death. Yeah, thankfully he did not. She escapes, and King Kong, they tie to big weather balloons, and fly him off out of the city. Like a big unconscious marionette. So they decide, let's not take Kong back to Skull Island. Let's take him to the hillside where he can fight Godzilla, who he's clearly scared of. He is scared of Godzilla because when he gets there, he sees Godzilla and he instantly hides. He's not daft, he's not. But eventually they do fight. It's a big long fight, loads of wrestling, loads of judo, loads of punches and a few like tail fights. Godzilla is winning, King Kong is losing, he's getting his ass kicked. Then an electrical storm comes in. Yeah, this is all being filmed by the way by some guys in the helicopter. Yeah, the two guys from the island are in the helicopter and they're filming it and talking to each other. So as the electrical storm gets closer, one of the guys in the helicopter says, "Oh, this'll help. Electricity makes King Kong stronger." Yeah, how did he know that? I don't know. But it seems to be true, because suddenly King Kong is powered up and he starts fighting Godzilla. He starts kicking his ass. Loads more wrestling. Eventually they both fall into the sea, and then after about 30 seconds, King Kong sticks his head up, just walks off into the distance.
Kong is swimming safely out to sea. No Godzilla.
That's wonderful. I hope we've seen the last of them for a long time.
Godzilla has disappeared without a trace. As for King Kong, our international communication satellite is following him. And strangely enough, we wish him luck on his long, long journey home.
Godzilla. And that's the end. That's how it ends. No answer. No, what happened? I don't know. That is the end of the movie. So, is this a bad movie? Yes. No, I think it's a good movie. I think it's a bit of a classic. But let us know what you think. Hit like, hit subscribe. We'll watch another video.